That Blind Tech Show with Bryan Fischler. That Blind Tech Show.
So hopefully, instead of giving you a frown, this turns your face upside down.
3, 2,
turns it
1.
into smiling, all right?
Welcome back to yet another episode of That Blind Tech Show. It's that Apple time of year. We've got updates galore. We've got updates for your iPhone coming. We got updates for your Apple TV coming. We got new Apple TVs, new Apple Watches, new iPhones. It's that fun time of year. First, we want to tell you where you can reach out to us at That Blind Tech Show, because we love to hear from you. We want to hear what you're expecting from your new products, what you're interested in getting, and you could tweet us in at Blind Tech Show, as well as email us in at thatblindtechshow@gmail.com. No phone number for you yet, but maybe one day we'll get there so you can hear yourself on our shows. And today we got an interesting episode. I'd like to welcome in two of our friends at That Blind Tech Show. Coming in out of California, it's Hot for Technology, Allison Hartley. How you doing today, Allison?
Hey, I'm great. I'm still riding that magical apple high.
In California, that's legal, right?
Yes, completely.
And joining us from Minnesota, where it's not so legal, Jeff Thompson. How you doing today, Jeff?
Riding that magic apple high myself and growing my own, because I just planted an apple tree in my backyard last week.
How fitting.
You guys in nature.
I'm calling it Apple 8.
Apple 8. Perfect.
Yeah.
And by the time it's ready to give you an apple, we'll be up to Apple 16 or something.
You're probably right.
We've got a lot to dive into, but before we dive into it, it was pointed out to me on our last podcast, That Blind Tech Show, and actually the listeners out there, you didn't get to hear a lot of it because there were some words. I went off a little on Apple because my iPhone Siri was ignoring almost everything I said. For example, I would dictate "the Yankees stink today," and it would come out with,
"Okay, big boy. The Dodgers are experiencing a rain delay."
I mean, that's how far off Siri was. Well, I finally got around. I was talking about getting into the Apple Store. I finally did that, and this is kind of a lesson for all of you out there. If you think your iPhone volume has gone down, or you think Siri's not listening to you, take your iPhone to the Apple Store, because I brought mine in. I waited in line at that Genius Bar. They ran diagnostics on my phone, and they're like, "Yep, your microphone's broken. Yep, your speaker's broken. Yeah, we got to give you a new iPhone." So it wasn't me. It was actually the iPhone.
Nice to have that Apple Care.
Yes.
I don't even know if I have Apple Care. They just said everything was broken. We're giving you a new phone. I'm on that yearly upgrade program. I don't know. Does that include Apple?
Then you have Apple Care. That includes Apple Care. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Aha. So once, finally, the warranty was actually worth something.
Yes.
We had such a slew of products coming at us yesterday. It's like yes, no, deciding what you want to buy. I got to start off asking you, Allison, what you heard yesterday, what you saw, what do you like, what do you plan on buying?
Well, I'm going to buy everything, so that's easy. Obviously, I'll just buy one of the iPhones, but I really liked the Apple Watch with LTE. I know it's not going to have very much talk time, but I'm going to like it for when I'm walking with the dog, particularly when I'm trying to find my Uber and they're calling me and I don't have to pull my phone out potentially in a sketchy neighborhood. I can just take my call right there on the
What kind of neighborhoods are you hanging out in?
California has these areas of super nice and really questionable neighborhoods right up against each other. So some of my favorite restaurants are in the more questionable parts of town.
I've heard Napa has a very big gang problem.
Oh, yes.
A bunch of whiners.
But of course, I never leave Napa, so.
No, of course not.
It'd just be nice to be able to quickly take a call on my wrist and not have to worry about, am I near a Wi-Fi? What's going on? To have that nice sharing of my number on the watch. The watch is going to be faster. The Wi-Fi is going to be faster. The watch better be faster, because I still wasn't very pleased with the Series 2.
Now, have you had all three? Have you had the Series 1?
I have had Series 1. I sold my Series 1. And then, no joke, 6 months ago, I was like, well, gee, I'm getting really more into being a little bit more health conscious. I want to try to track my steps. So maybe I'll buy an Apple Watch Series 2. So right around CSUN time, right after CSUN, I did. And now lo and behold, this always happens to me every time. But I'm going to get the new Apple TV as well, not because I necessarily need 4K, because it's lost on me, but it is going to be faster than the previous model. Again, I'm all about that speed. And I heard they're actually bringing back the gigabit Ethernet port. Not that I need it, but it's nice to know it's there. We do this thing because Jeremy can't see either. So we do this thing where we hook it up with this little HDMI converter box to a pair of speakers, and we just use it that way. And that works well. The iPhone, I'm getting the iPhone 10. If it was just a question of the 8 and the 8 Plus, I don't know if I would upgrade from the 7, but I got to check out that 10. I'm really intrigued.
Yeah, no, the 10, we'll get into that a little further. It does sound very exciting. Well, wow, it's going to be an exciting year at your household with all those goodies coming in.
It's going to be an expensive year because I'm getting the HomePod, 2 HomePods too when they come out.
Yeah, they didn't mention the HomePods. And
they did not. I was a little disappointed. But
yeah, maybe the HomePods are so fantastic that Apple felt they deserved an event of their own.
Well, I hope I'll be able to get the day off again.
That's true. Now, Jeff, what about yourself there? What that you heard about? What excites you? What are you looking forward to getting yet?
I really didn't know what was going to excite me during this thing. Then I heard some commotion going on Twitter back and forth, and it was Allison that actually I listened to. Allison, I'm listening.
At least somebody is.
It's the Apple Watch. When I first got it, I was going to return it, the last day to return it and get all your money back. But then it grew on me. It's not anything that just out of the box you just put on and you're using it fully. You kind of develop a routine with it. You start using it for steps or using it for other things. And like you said, Allison, this next one's going to be faster, more connectivity. It's everything I want in one. Yeah, I got to get rid of the 2, but they're discontinuing the 2, which is interesting. They're keeping the 1. And they're going with the 3. So that's interesting to me. Like, no one will buy the 2 now.
No, you know what it is? They bought and stocked up on so many of the 1s at the warehouse.
That's probably why.
The 2s sold good, the 1s didn't. And they've got a lot of them. They're like, well, let's just continue the 2. I got to tell you, this is the first time I think that I've listened to one of these Apple keynotes where I've walked away saying, I don't think I'm getting anything.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not, that sounds worse than it. I do have an iPhone 7. I am on the yearly upgrade program, but I think I want to pay this one off. You know, if you have a 7, there's really no reason to upgrade to the 8. That I probably would make the jump from the 7 to the 10. You know, either that or an iPhone 9. I hear the 9 is really fantastic.
It's mythical.
It is. It is. I hear it's invisible.
It's shaped like a unicorn.
Yes.
Unicorn shape. That's true. But and you know, with the Apple TV, I have the 4th gen.
Yes.
I have that. I barely ever use it. I am a TiVo subscriber, as people know, and you know, now that I'm able to get my Netflix feeds over that, I am able to get the Amazon feeds over it, but I'm not able to get the Amazon feeds with described video.
Oh, boo.
Whoever named the Apple TV 4K, the 4K, genius.
Clearly.
The one thing that I am not an Apple Watch user. The Apple Watch, now that it's separating a little from the iPhone and you could do more with it, it is finally, well, maybe it's time to go into the store and check it out. I would go with the high-end version with the cellular. And yeah, that was interesting. It seemed like all the cellular companies said, you know, we're going to come out. It's just going to cost you $10 a month to have this plan and everything, which is very reasonable.
I thought so. If people were complaining about the price, but for that kind of convenience, if you're adding a tablet, it's $10 a month. And I'm on T-Mobile. My plan is pretty cheap anyway for unlimited, so what's $10 more? I'll still be saving money over what I was paying for Verizon.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. You know, it does seem very reasonable. It's hopefully they don't hike it in 2 months and all of a sudden it's 15 and it starts creeping up and everything.
Yeah, then I would complain.
Yeah, that's the one thing you hate to see is when they hike those things up. So
yeah.
Now we've got iOS 11 dropping here. I don't know. It depends on when Jeff gets us out, but hopefully in the next few days iOS 11 is dropping, and a lot of us are going to run out there and install it. And there's one thing I thought we should remind everybody to do first, besides backing up. Obviously, always back up. You know, this is going to be the sayonara for the 32 gig apps and
32-bit apps.
32-bit apps. Yeah, what did I say? Gig apps?
Gig.
Well, they got rid of the 32 gig phones, so
yeah.
The War and Peace app.
Yeah, I've got this one app. It's 32 gigs. Well, I only have a 16 gig iPhone, but time to update that iPhone. So, yeah, my faux pas. But anyway, the 32-bit apps are going by the wayside. And Apple did make it very easy to quickly check what apps on your phone are still 32-bit. And I was actually surprised. There were more on my phone. A lot of them were apps I haven't used. The one that I am going to be sad to go by is an app that I have not used in forever, but I loved having it. Have you guys ever heard of this app called 55,000 Quotes?
No.
Great app that I used to play with years ago. I just pull up and read quotes, and you can pull up, you could search by quotes by person and everything, and it's a shame.
Aww.
Yeah, I'd like to see them update that one. I forgot about it. I don't even remember where it is on my phone. I think it's in my reference folder, but for those of you wanting to check which apps are 32-bit, go into Settings and General. Under About, you have your music, your videos, your photos. It tells you how many. If you have any apps that are 32-bit, you will be able to do a one-finger double tap on your applications information there, and it'll list there which apps have not been updated and you will be losing. You may want to do that before updating your phone. Have you guys done this?
I have. Now, at the time of recording, which is September 13th, a couple of app developers, I know one, Nagdu, that did the Guide Dog Laws app, they have updated theirs. Radium, one of the more popular 32-bit apps, has been updated. So developers have the better part of a week to get the updates in before the apps will go away. So I would say have some backup ideas in mind for different apps that you might want to switch to, but don't really give up hope until the 19th.
Allison, can you tell the listeners who may not know what the Radium app is?
Radium is a radio app, and actually right now I can't use it because they haven't updated it yet because I'm running the Goldmaster, but it's a really nice radio app. It was a great alternative for a while to the Sirius XM app when they were going through their accessibility woes, but they thankfully have made their app really, really accessible now. So Radium, I hope they update it. They say they're going to. It'll always be a good backup app for Sirius XM and a good radio app in general for other stations. But I have uTunes, I have TuneIn Radio, and now Sirius XM is really accessible. So I hate to say it, but now they kind of sat on it for too long, and now I don't really care if they update it or not.
Yeah, I actually thought I was going to be becoming a TuneIn Pro subscriber this past weekend because I didn't think my pro football app that I got for 99 cents 6 years ago was updating their stations anymore. Surprisingly, at the last minute, it didn't work during the preseason. It ended up working this past weekend, so 1 for 1.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a nice surprise and saved me some money.
What are these 32-bit developers doing? Are they all like on the beach in Maui somewhere, just like, oh, we got time or something?
They made their money and now they're going off to live the high life, I guess.
I actually got an official notice from them. They're hanging out with the developer of Downcast somewhere.
Touche.
Yes, that's the official word on the street and everything.
Downcast 3 is coming, apparently. We still don't know when.
Yes, we had a tweet in, I believe it was March or April 12th, saying it was being updated, but as of this recording in September, I think we're over a year that it has yet to be updated. And
it's cutting it awfully fine. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it runs with iOS 11. Now, have you guys tried Downcast running either the betas or no?
No, I'm an Overcast person now. I've completely switched.
I was and still am. I really like Downcast. I do have Overcast and I do have the podcast. I have iCatcher. I kind of divide up my podcast between them, and Podcast doesn't have a lot of them on there, but Overcast with its speed shifting, being able to speed it up and taking out the gaps is probably the best out there for that feature. And when you get into podcasts, I believe there's a 2-speed you can go up to. That's it. There's nothing like Overcast, the engine they use for speeding up the podcast. And the new podcast and the Goldmaster, I just want to say it's interesting. It's like a library. It's kind of set up like the new music app where you go down and it'll have suggested podcasts because you're listening to this one and you can link to this one, and it has the most popular ones and then your own list and stuff. So it's enhanced. But yeah, I wish Downcast would upgrade.
Yeah, I cannot listen to podcasts. It's not so much the sound of the voice at regular speed that gets me. I just don't have time. With Overcast, I can get through a 3-hour podcast in 1 hour.
Well,
so.
Allison, how about if we just start talking about like this?
Okay, that sounds great. I'll try it. Yeah.
Spin it up, Chipmunk. Spin it up.
We can speed up the podcast for you.
We'll make podcasting history. We recorded this podcast about Apple's updates in 34 seconds. I wanted to talk a little further about the Apple Watch because you both are Apple Watch users and everything. And, Allison, you're definitely getting the new Apple Watch. What is it about the new Apple Watch? Is it primarily the speed that excites you? Is it the cellular connectivity?
It's both, yeah. It's the speed and the cellular connectivity because the Apple Watch Series 2 was a definite improvement, but sometimes when apps would load, it would still say loading. And I'm hoping that on the Series 3, this will finally be a thing of the past. Now, I primarily just used it for fitness stuff, mainly just tracking my movement. I haven't really used the workout app a whole lot. I have to kind of get more into the whole workout aspect of fitness, but I am walking a lot more living in Napa, which is good for me and the dog, and because it's a very walkable city, especially the area where I live.
Living out in Napa, you're not a professional grape stomper, are you?
I'm pretty good at drinking the wine.
And Jeff, what about you?
I'm pretty good at drinking the wine myself too. Not so much a grape stomper.
So, Jeff, you're also planning on upgrading to a new Apple Watch. Why are you upgrading?
Like Allison said, I just follow whatever she says. But actually, the dual-core processor is going to be 70% faster. I mean, right there, it's like, yes, bang. I don't know. I always had my phone near, and when I don't have it near and answering the phone. But there's so many situations where I don't have my phone where I could just do that. And it's going to speak Siri.
Oh, that's going to be so much better. Yeah.
So the current Apple Watches do not speak Siri?
No, you have to swipe the screen then just to read the output of Siri, and it's a pain in the butt.
Okay. That's what, 2-finger swipe down, does that read Siri on the Apple Watch second version?
I just flick, but I don't think I don't think you can do a traditional say. I've never tried to do a traditional sail on that little baby screen.
I'm on Watch, I'm running the beta, so I can't really say exactly what it'll do, but when you have text on there, you touch the watch frame and it basically will just read that section, paragraph, blah, blah, blah. And if you do a 2-finger swipe down, you can toggle through messages. That's like your 3-finger swipe on the phone. So there's not enough room to get 3 fingers on there.
This is interesting to hear because I, as somebody who has not had an Apple Watch, I went into the Apple store once to check out the Apple Watch. I couldn't even hear the Apple Watch in the store. The store was so loud.
Yeah, the stores are loud. Yeah.
And the wireless chip that they're putting in there.
They're calling it a W2 chip. I'm hoping it's going to be like an 802.11 AC equivalent because then all the modern devices will be AC compatible because I have an AC router.
Yeah, well, you start talking chip technology and all that stuff goes over my head. I just know how to use the damn things. But
you just know you like chips?
That's true. I am a big fan of chips.
Speaking of chips, Allison, you mentioned the W2 chip. That's going to make the Wi-Fi 85% faster. Going to incorporate the barometric altimeter so you can do elevation and stairs.
Good. Maybe I'll finally start taking the stairs at work. Yeah.
I have to ask, as a Mac user, you said that on the current version, it sometimes holds up. Do you get busy messages on the Apple Watch?
I do not. It's a good thing, Bryan Fischler, that my dog didn't hear you saying that, or we would have had quite a mess.
Oh, true that.
Yes, but I do get those. I do get those messages. Not on the watch, no, but definitely on the Mac still.
Now, I think the biggest question to come out of Apple yesterday was, is there a blind person on the planet that cares about 4K on an Apple TV?
Well, it depends on their degree of vision, I suppose. Mm-hmm. There might be some high partials who would like it.
Yeah, that's... I have no clue what 4K even means. I know it's resolution and everything, but I have no frame of reference.
Well, for one of the things, like someone may want it for the accessibility, but the rest of their family may enjoy the 4K. So there's a lot of other factors that come involved in there. I think the speed of it, they're using a higher, twice the speed processor.
It's got it's the one that has the basically the iPad Pro processor, the A10. Yeah, so I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's funny because I was just thinking I am such an a-hole that when friends come over, I actually make them watch everything in standard definition. They complain about it. I say, wait a minute. You're not seriously complaining to a blind guy about the quality of the television screen. Just enjoy the fact you can see it, buddy. Shuts them up pretty
guilt
quickly.
tripping.
Yeah. You're like, this is really cool, but it looked much better in high def. I'm like, you didn't just say that, did you? Could be why nobody's come over in a while, though.
Blame it on the Apple TV.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's all the Apple TV's fault.
No, you're right. It is the iPad Pro chip that's in this one. I guess screwed it up by saying that about the watch. I've been listening to all this stuff, and all this stuff is starting to blend together.
It's all no, I hear you, because like I said, I've been basically, when I haven't been working, and the rare occasions I've been sleeping, I've been taking in all this media, so I definitely get it.
My plan. And the iPhone 10 comes out at about the same time. So it's like, why go for the 8, from a 7 to an 8? I'm going to go for the 10. And it's like, I don't have Jordan shoes. I don't have big bling hanging from my neck and all this other stuff. I like my Apple stuff.
Yeah, that's how I am too.
Really? I thought you dressed like Flavor Flav.
Rico Suave, yeah.
Hey, everybody likes my 10.
See,
but it's like I tweeted the other day. Jeremy and I both work. We don't have kids. We rent our home, and quite frankly, if that's how I wanna spend my fun money on Apple tech, that's what I'm gonna do.
So neither of you are narcotic users. That sucks up a lot of your money.
I have the Apple Orchard, I call it, because when my phone rings, my Mac lights up, my wrist vibrates, my phone goes off. It's like Panic at the Disco here. I just
You're like a walking blind Christmas tree, is what you're saying.
Well, I'm sitting at my desk here trying to do work, and boom, 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 they all catch up to each other.
Yep, they all go off at once. And it's crazy.
If I answer my phone,
it's jarring.
Yeah, it is.
It's like when I get a text message, it's surround sound or a Facebook notification. It's the phone, and then it comes over by the computer and the iPad. Everything just lights up. On the Apple TV, there was something that they mentioned, which I am preparing to be disappointed by, because the TV app really disappointed me. I know they're making some changes to that, but that was something I was really looking forward to. And really just the execution of that app. It has gotten a little better. It's at least finding most of the shows that I watch, but they're having a new sports app. But the problem is, they say you're going to be able to watch all your sports games on your Apple TV live from this one app. Almost every sports is a paid subscription, so how much are you really going to be able to watch?
That could get expensive super quickly. And don't even get me started on the TV app. It's a word I won't use in polite company. But
there's no polite company here.
I'm looking over my shoulder.
But seriously, they don't even have Netflix integrated into it yet. So what use is it? That's mainly what I use my Apple TV for. There's a lot of Netflix content. So.
Oh, yeah, that's what I primarily use mine for. And, the one thing I actually haven't even checked this year, because thankfully the Echo device, it's so easy to listen when you have the Major League Baseball subscription. You just say,
we have that too.
You just say, ask MLB to play X game. Instead, you have to go to the Apple TV. What I noticed with the Apple TV, and I don't know if they fixed this, when you played a game, the audio for a game with VoiceOver would just keep reading you like how many outs there were in the innings so it was interrupting the feed. You actually on the Apple TV had to turn VoiceOver off so you could hear the game and everything. I don't know if that's...
I have to do that for AirPlay a lot because it'll just shout like HTTP. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah.
I'm trying to listen.
That's something they still have not seemed to have perfected. And the one thing that really concerns me, though, about the Apple TV is the one thing they mentioned about Apple TV back in, April? They didn't mention yesterday the Amazon app coming to the Apple TV.
They mentioned that it was coming, but they definitely did not give a date. And I don't know what the holdup. And I'm livid with Amazon for having. They have season 1 of Man on the High Castle with the description, and I finished season 1, and I'm like, yes, I can't wait to start season 2. I go to start season 2.
It's not described.
No
that
audio.
annoys me.
I really wanted to kill somebody. I was so upset.
Yeah, that's pathetic, Amazon. Come on. Amazon came out with that described video, and it doesn't seem like they've added any. They're not going the way Netflix did, where all of their original content is described.
It's half-butted. It's not. It's
you
not
can't
good.
be 1 foot in, 1 foot out when it comes
Nope.
to the accessibility. Yeah. When did that must have been during my nap time during the what was it? It was only a 2-hour Apple event yesterday, but I completely missed when they mentioned Amazon.
You zonked out during like half of it. It sounded like.
I did. First Steve Jobs was talking, and then he was dead, and then this
Funny
Tim
how that
Cook guy was there. How much did I miss?
Oh, let's see, about 9 years.
27 years. Yeah.
I imagine we'll lose some listeners. Oh, that's just not funny.
Brian, it's a phone.
Really? It's not the Apple IIcef?
It's not the Lisa. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty soon, it's just going to be a device. I think they're going to start an app where your phone providers come in. I mean, is the phone the best part about the device?
No.
You haven't signed up for the surgery where they drill your iPhone into your head?
I would totally be okay with that as long as it was somehow reachable. I would.
The only problem with that is where would the charge cord go?
But see, wouldn't your thoughts provide the power?
See, I have an R sense of humor, so I
That's
can't
very
go,
that's very Steve Jobsian. Your thoughts provide the power. Man.
Bioenergy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be...
Talk about sustainability. Wow, we're really going places
Didn't
now.
Keanu Reeves
I didn't
make
even have to take magic mushrooms to have this kind of trip.
Charging pillows.
So now we got the iPhone 8 coming, huh? And
Yeah.
that's not going to have a long shelf life. It's only going to be out for, 6 weeks?
Yeah. Before the phone that everybody really wants comes out. Yeah.
And I can't imagine there's too many people that are iPhone 7. I mean, why would somebody upgrade to an iPhone 8, Allison?
All right. Somebody might upgrade to an iPhone 8 if they don't want to deal, A, with the cost of the 10, or B, with the newness of the 10 not having the home button and having to deal with the Face ID. If they want something that is similar in form factor to the iPhone that they have always known and loved, then you might want to upgrade from the 8. If you have a 7 or a 7 Plus, I would personally, I don't think the 8 and 8 Plus are a big enough upgrade. If you have a 6S or below, you might consider it. You might also consider the 10 if you could afford it, because that's where the future of the iPhone is going to be in that technology, I believe.
That's a great answer, Jeff. How are you going to live up to that one? Why would somebody consider an iPhone 8?
Well, exactly. If you're running a 6, I mean, you probably had it for 2 years. The battery life on a 6, I mean, you could go and get a new battery for it, but you're still behind the 8 ball. You're going to wait another year. I don't think they're going to go from an 8 to a 9. Or, is the 10 going to be is that the new benchmark for the next phone that'll come out?
Yeah, I think the 10 is kind of a preview of what all the new phones are going to be like eventually. I don't know if it's going to take 1 year or 2 or 3 or 5, but I think that the 10 is a little glimpse of what the whole lineup is eventually going to look like. I think for a while, because there are so many more traditional models that will still run modern operating systems, I think that for a while folks will always have the option of the older phones, but I wouldn't be surprised if next year the new phone was just the 11.
That'd be awesome. I just think it'd be awesome if they said, you know what, we're going to call this the 9 next year.
People would lose it.
Yeah,
people would
just to
absolutely
mess
lose
with
it.
people and everything. But no,
Stock
that
value would plummet.
that's a really good answer, because it is a lot cheaper, the iPhone 8 and everything. People like what they're used to and everything. There's a lot of people are afraid of change. So you guys, I think, are both correct. People that are iPhone 6 or 6S users, then the 8 might be for them. And, like I said, you'll only have about a shelf life of 6 weeks having that shiny new thing. And then we have the 10 coming. What are you looking forward to about the 10? Because you plan to get a 10, right, Allison?
I want to play with the Face ID. I'm very, very curious to see how this will work. I've gotten a lot of information from various sources that it will be accessible, that the attention mode that is activated for sighted folks that makes you have to open your eyes and look at the phone will be deactivated if they detect voiceover running during setup. And so what you will mainly just need to do is run yourself through like a scan of the phone where they'll tell you how to move your face and everything, and they'll just take that scan of your face.
The way the fingerprint does now, right?
Yeah, similar to that, but you won't have to actually open your eyes and look at the phone. Because I can open my eyes okay for a few seconds, but I can't focus them worth a damn. So it's good that it'll just do the scan of the face. Some people are worried about some of the security implications of that, because in theory, if someone steals your phone, I guess they could hold it up in front of your face and try to unlock it that way. But they would have to know that voiceover was... They would have to be a pretty smart criminal. Most dumb criminals who are going to steal somebody's phone are just going to snatch it and grab it to try to sell it. They're not after your info.
They want to chop your head off, though, to take it with them now, though. Instead of just your finger, they got to take your head with you. But because I slept during a lot of the keynote, the iPhone 8 also has facial recognition, doesn't it?
No.
Okay, so it was just the 10 that has...
It has the Touch ID and the regular home button like normal. But the iPhone 10, because it's an edge-to-edge screen, has no home button. Now, another advantage of the iPhone 10, for me at least, is I've been rocking the Plus models since the 6 Plus came out, and it's fine, but I have pretty small hands. I got it for the battery life and the better camera. But the 10 is actually going to be somewhere in between, size-wise, the 8 and the 8 Plus model. But it'll have a bigger screen because it's edge to edge.
And I just came up with Apple's new catchphrase, iPhone 10, you can never go home again. You're welcome, Apple.
Well, I would say you just have to take a different route home. You have to swipe up from the bottom of the screen. And apparently it will provide some haptic feedback to let you know that you've been successful. There's going to be a different way to access the app switcher. You swipe up and then do some sort of holding gesture. I don't know how that's going to work with voiceover, but Apple has thought of this stuff. There was a lot of concern on Twitter, and I'm not saying it wasn't justified, but it does seem, I think that we can be pretty confident enough in Apple's commitment to accessibility 10 years on from Mac accessibility, 11 years on from, and 8 years on from iOS accessibility, that they're not going to leave us out in the cold. So I think that when people kind of like lose it over, oh my God, Apple has made these changes, they're going to forget accessibility, that's actually doing a huge disservice to the community when people have these hot takes like that. I always employ a wait and see approach. I assume at this point that Apple will always consider accessibility, and they haven't let me down yet.
So you didn't buy into all that Twitter panic by women? Oh my God, if I'm not wearing makeup, my iPhone's not going to recognize me.
Well, the blind Twitter panic was worse. Somebody actually tweeted, this is a step back for the blind, and I let them have it because I just, I don't like this needless fear mongering for a community. Let's face it, as a community, we can be a little bit change averse anyway. So for people to be kind of fear mongering like that and making it even worse, it's really not good. It's not good for progress.
That's all. Now, Jeff, are you looking forward to having to turn your head to the right and cough twice to open your iPhone?
That's what they told me to do for this one. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
I didn't get the memo.
You didn't get the memo?
No, I'm right along with Allison again here. I have confidence. Like when I first did the beta, I loaded it. When I was on vacation and another upgrade, I loaded it. It's just a new confidence that I have that they're looking out for. I just went on to Apple's site and they're all about that. It should work for everyone, and they're so inclusive. Yep. I just love having the 11. Now there's a couple things that have gone wrong, like my MV88 uses the Motive app, and that's from Shure. That's SHURE for the microphone, and their app crashes. And I contacted them, and they said, it'll be there when it comes out. Well, what are we, a week away? I'm counting down for that. I love the confidence. I have nothing against Apple. I just love it.
Now, my big thing, and I'm sure they've come up, because I said to Jeff when I heard, no more home button, although we knew about this for a while, was, what about triple click home? And Jeff was speculating, I think he's right, that they'll probably just convert that to the power button. What do you guys think?
Yeah, the power button has become much more multi-function. So you will hold down the power button for Siri. It's going to be a bigger button, so I'm hoping that it will be easier for somebody with a physical disability who might not be able to hit that button. But you could use assistive touch if your physical disability prohibits you from pressing that button down, because I realize it does require a bit more force to hold it. But yeah, it's triple click for toggling accessibility, and I'm sure you can switch that exclusively to voiceover just like you can now. If you click the power button 5 times, it actually locks it so that it requires the passcode so that Face ID won't work. So if you are concerned about your surroundings, or heaven forbid if you get arrested or something, and you're afraid that the police are going to try to compel you to unlock your phone, legally they can make you give up a fingerprint and possibly even a face unlock, but legally you cannot be compelled to give a passcode, because it's something that's within your own mind. And under the Fifth Amendment, you can't you can choose not to incriminate yourself, so you don't have to turn over a passcode. I haven't been arrested. I just read about a lot of this stuff. I haven't been arrested yet, I should say.
I got to give a shout out to Steve Sashin. He posted on Twitter. It said, "Helen of Troy, the face that could unlock 1,000 iPhones."
That was pretty funny. But one of the really interesting things about the iPhone 10 as well is the security aspect. I learned something very interesting and kind of scary yesterday during the keynote. If you have a Touch ID, there is a 1 in 50,000 chance that somebody else has a similar enough fingerprint to you that they can unlock your iPhone with their fingerprint. However, if you have Face ID on the iPhone 10, that likelihood goes up to 1 in a million chance that someone would be able to lock.
Unless you're a twin.
Unless you are a twin, and if you have an evil twin, as I don't know if it was Eddie Q or whoever said, you want to have a really good passcode. Then
Yeah.
They got to come out with superheroes, these super action figures like Phil, Eddie. I'm sorry, I'd have to go in on that.
Well, if you listen to macOS Ken, he calls them Eddie the Stuff Q, Phil the Thrill Schiller, Craig Federighi is Hair Force One, I guess because he has really gorgeous hair.
Who was the guy that only had one name that they introduced yesterday? Was that Phil?
They were introducing everybody with one name, and I found that was kind of interesting. I felt like it was maybe just a little bit more personal. Like, they're just regular women and men just like us. I was happy to see Angela Ahrendts up there. I know that
they're not regular women and men like us. They're rich women and men.
Well, yes, and genius,
very, very
and geniuses to boot. But I think they wanted to sort of play on the humanity that we all share here. I'm getting philosophical again.
In the way they describe things, when they say like it'll join the watch, the Series C, it'll join the Series 1. In other words, they're saying the Series 2 is out. It's like how they phrase one word, how they just make a twist like, oh, that's gone. And they didn't really...
they make it... But they make you happy about it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's great.
Go, Phil. Go, Phil.
Well, my thing about facial recognition is I really want to test it. Should I get an iPhone 10, then I'll lose a bunch of weight and see if it recognizes me without one of my chins.
It's actually, it's going to take 30,000 points, convert it into mathematics. And so when little things change, like facial growth, you're going to start growing a beard, it'll adjust to that. Or like a hat, a glove, winter, and all that stuff.
And they've trained it so it can't
a goiter.
Yeah. And they've trained it so it can't be spoofable. So incidentally, every time I heard 30,000 points, all I could think of was 1,000 points of light. And I don't know if that makes me old or a dork or both. But
yeah, that's
I'm missing the reference.
George Bush. Yeah, Bush Senior. Yeah.
Oh, he was what?
Yes.
He was the president, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you were sleeping then. Yeah.
For somebody who doesn't sleep a lot, I must...
You tend to sleep for the important stuff.
Yeah. Welcome to America.
Exactly. We landed on the moon.
No, Plymouth Rock. It was Plymouth Rock, Brian.
Plymouth Rock didn't land on us. Or no, I forget whatever that's saying. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Now, the thing that excited me, although I might not be getting an iPhone 10, finally, wireless charging.
Oh, thank God. Yeah. Although, I mean, really, it's not truly wireless, but I like the thought of having a pad, even if it's plugged in, that I can just throw my phone on, have it start charging, and then I can go about my business. Especially if I'm listening to my Sonos or something. I'd like to get something that I can set up on the coffee table, or maybe, don't tell Jeremy this yet, maybe even get a coffee table that has a wireless charging pad built into it. Yes. Then I'd have to put the damn thing together, and that would take forever. And I don't think those instructions come in Braille.
No, but I heard people are using their Ira glasses to do tasks such as that.
Oh, bless
now,
their hearts.
so.
I don't have the patience.
No, and I don't even own any tools. People come over, they're like, "Where's your hammer?" I'm like, "What's a hammer?" But no, what I hate is my computer. I just have a mess of wires sitting here. So every time I want to charge my iPhone, I'm like, "Nope, that's not it."
Where's the lightning cable? Yeah.
Didn't I grab that one already?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm totally opposite. Mine is like, it's got to be right there. Otherwise, I hate losing time. I just hate losing time. Okay, I'm anal. Fine.
Yeah, but the thing that caught me was, and this is the part where I said it's not coming out till next year. Normally Apple announces, everything's coming out in a few weeks. I wonder.
You're half right, and that's okay. I'll supply the other
give
half.
Give them that.
I know where I'm half right. You could
Fill
get
in the
a
blanks
wireless
here.
charger that's not from Apple. Okay. I'll let you fill in the blanks, Allison.
Apple's wireless charger won't come out till 2018, but you can get other off-brand wireless chargers that are Qi compatible. Qi is spelled QI, which is just completely breaks my brain.
Oh yeah.
And for anybody that's going to buy a wireless charger, make sure it says Apple certified, because I buy 10-foot charge lightning cords. And a couple of them worked for about a week or two, and then they stopped working. And you definitely want to make sure anytime you're buying anything you're going to use with your Apple device, make sure it says on Amazon Apple certified.
Well, the beauty...
Actually,
Sorry, go ahead, Jeff.
Actually, they said make sure it's Qi certified, because they're already existing, like the Belkin and the other ones that are already on the market right now, and they're going with that, and they're going to work with them to make sure they make a universal type of thing for everybody.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. I never thought I'd live to see the day when Apple embraced an open standard.
Yeah. Wow, charging, that's exciting stuff.
Yeah. Hey, it's power.
Electricity, man.
Power,
it's
man.
electric. So we're not going to dive too much into it because it's going to be out pretty soon, but what's exciting you, Allison, about iOS 11?
A feature that I have not gotten to really try yet, but you can apparently now on the phone do a screen recording where it, I think, visually shows what you're doing. So for example, if you're trying to show a developer, hey, this is where your app is inaccessible and this is where you might be able to improve it, you can actually do a recording of yourself using the app, and they can see where you are tapping and swiping, and you can attach that to your please fix this please email.
And I've used that screen recorder. It's in my control center. And a gal, Lois, down in South Africa, she was having trouble with the website that I noticed, and her husband was trying to visually fix it on their computer, the web, going deep inside the control panel and all that stuff. So she said, could you send a screen? And I said, I can do better than that. So I went through the whole process, and I turned it on, and it's a file, and I just sent it. I found it in my photos, under videos.
Oh my gosh, that is too cool.
And
that's going to revolutionize how we give feedback.
Oh, yeah.
That's great, because I always thought you hated helping people.
One of the things that it would be kind of cool is to show our finger swiping or doing that, like gestures, but all it does is, like, when something highlights, it might turn white or it might get outlined or something, but they can see it happening. Their eyes will see the button, like, get highlighted, meaning a press or something.
Okay, so it's not video, so I don't have to, like, dress up for screen recording. Okay.
A little primping, clean the house, yeah.
Now, I have to ask you both, since you've been running the beta or the Golden Master, is there anything serious that the voiceover community needs to really be concerned about?
From what I have gathered so far, and I've been running it less than 24 hours, but there are no showstoppers.
No, there's no showstoppers. It's all snappy, happy, good stuff. It's Apple, Brian.
It just works.
It just works. Okay. Well, it's much better than we. It's funny, we couldn't even remember which exact version of the iPhone it was when we had, serious problems. But it's been a few years since we've had some real serious problems, such as, whether it's you can't answer the phone or,
right.
Just certain things weren't working with VoiceOver.
No, it's snappy.
We like to think
it's snappy. I noticed it right away when I was zinging around at the convention when one of them came in. All of a sudden, I just flicking and going. And as fast as I wanted to go, it was coming with me. It's like usually when I go back to my iPhone 6, which I just use as a recording device, just a tool, I gotta wait. You swipe and you kind of pause till you hear it. But now with my iPhone 7 and the Goldmaster right now, it's just zip, 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 zip. And yeah, it's nice.
And the one part of the keynote I did hear is iOS 11 is dropping on the 19th. So that's pretty exciting because depending on when this podcast comes out, hopefully it will come out before the 19th. You only have a few days to wait until iOS 11 you'll be able to install. Now, coming a week later this time, and I think normally it's a week later, the 25th, we've got High Sierra coming, and I don't know, I'm a little more hesitant to update my Mac when it comes to High Sierra. What about you, Allison?
I always jump right in. I update the day of, and sometimes there are bugs, and usually they're not showstoppers. So I'm looking forward to High Sierra. How'd they come up with that name? What about you, Jeff? Any hesitations upgrading to High Sierra?
I never hesitate. I'll do it right away. And first thing I do is just go see my apps that I use all the time are working, and they usually are. Brian, it's Apple.
It just works.
It just works.
Most of the time.
It just works unless you are a Microsoft Office 2011 user. I don't know if you guys heard this. I think I'm using Office 2016, but Microsoft Office 2011, they already released that Office 2011 will not work with High Sierra. Did you hear that?
Yeah, but I don't think it's even accessible with VoiceOver.
That could be why I'm not using 2011. That reminds me, and I may have mentioned this on this podcast or my previous show, back in 2009, I guess, or 2010, when I went in to get my first Mac, I said, what about Microsoft Office? And the salesman sold it to me. I went home and played with it for like 2 weeks, and I am never going to figure out how to work VoiceOver. Well, sure enough, Microsoft Office 2000. Actually, it might have been Office 2010. Office 2010 did not work with VoiceOver, but that was a fun way getting started with my Mac. So.
Speaking of Microsoft, on my iPhone, all my apps just got updated from Microsoft, and they're doing such an exceptional job with keeping up on the accessibility with the iPhone, the iOS platform. I'm very impressed. I got the 365 and on my Mac, and yeah, there's a couple of small glitches, but what strides they've made in the last year, especially the last year.
Yeah, they really have to be commended because they have made extreme strides on all platforms in terms of accessibility. And to my mind, they're fast becoming the company where they don't even so much care if you use their computing platform, Windows. They want you to use their products on whatever platform that you use. And you can be pretty guaranteed at this point that they're going to be accessible, which is great.
What a shift.
Yeah, complete shift.
And Microsoft, unlike other companies, they're playing nice with everybody because they and Amazon, I don't know how it's going to work, but supposedly the Echo and Cortana are getting married. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, you'll be able to open one with the other, and that's pretty neat. I have never used Cortana for anything ever in my life, so I don't see myself using it, but just that openness is laudable.
Well, I'm interested if this will bring the productivity suite to the Echo. And I don't know what capacity you would use
Microsoft
that
Word
in.
on the Echo, that would take a while if you were going to dictate. Although, hey, it's Office in the cloud. So actually, no, I take that back. I could totally see, maybe somebody with a physical disability having their OneDrive hooked in and everything and actually maybe dictating.
Or just reading documents over the Echo.
Yeah. Either one.
So when you got Walmart and Google combining forces,
yeah, we live in strange times, but wonderful times.
Cats and dogs living together.
It's all benefiting. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. We're going to benefit because everything that's coming about, competition for Amazon, now Walmart and Google search, my go-to is Amazon because they can pick it up, deliver, returns, everything right at your doorstep. And for me, that's convenience. I'll pay their cheaper prices for that convenience.
Oh, yeah.
Google search. I mean, how many times do you say, "Hey Siri, search Google"? It's automatic for me. I don't
all the time. Yep.
I have to comment about Amazon because I am too a big fan of the Amazon and Amazon Prime. And before this podcast, I wanted to respond to a email thread that I was on, and I wanted to post a product I had bought. In fact, I'll mention the product on this show. It just occurred to me, it's a lot easier when, say you're calling somebody over FaceTime and you want them to see what you're doing. It's a lot easier to have both the use of your hands. So for about $6, I bought it's a clear plastic, waterproof with a necktie baggie that you could slide the iPhone into. So I could have it around my neck and the camera. People could see what I'm seeing, and I have the use of both my hands. Highly recommend. Yeah, for $6. So anyway, I was looking for the product link to email it to this list and say, people, here's what you want. It's $6. Everybody can afford it. It works fantastic. It's actually, most people use this product to take underwater pictures. I'm not putting my iPhone in the bag in water, but obviously it works. So anyway, I pulled up Amazon. I normally pull up Amazon on my iPhone. I pulled it up on Safari. I went to my orders, and totally inaccessible. The Mac, I could not get through my orders to find. I kept getting caught in all kinds of pop-ups and everything, and it is very poorly designed.
I haven't done Amazon other than on the phone.
Exactly. Yeah, me
in
neither.
A couple of years, but they need to fix. But they need to fix it. They need to fix that for people who need the computer.
Yeah, so I have to post this link after the show.
The app works so dang well. I mean, I never even try to go on to Amazon. I do once in a while, and I just get stuck.
Yep. It's frustrating. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what happened to me. But now after, I've got to go to the app, find this product, email it to myself, or copy the link, because I've never been able to get Universal Clipboard to work.
Well,
so yeah, that'd be nice if that worked. See, if you were just on your
phone, you could have used handoff to go back into mail on the phone. And
I could do that, I guess.
Share and then copied the link that way.
I could read mail on the phone? Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
When I'm doing stuff on the internet, especially for podcasting and putting it up, when I'm trying to post this and put this link over here and this link and going back to Twitter and getting the links all in there, I'm using that all the time. I got it on my computer, on my Mac, and so then I just go on my phone and I cut it there and I paste it on my Mac, and it's just a teamwork.
Yep.
It's just seamless. I love it.
And I should also state this product, it came with some kind of Velcro thing that you could strap. I haven't figured out how that part works, and I just don't trust Velcro when my iPhone's in it. So I just put it around my neck.
When you start talking about this plastic baggie around your phone, I was thinking, he practices safe iPhoning.
Dude, Jeff, you just nailed the title for this show.
Yes.
Safe iPhone. Oh, you know me. It's always safety first. I was a little surprised we didn't get an announcement about new Apple AirPods and coming out with the noise canceling, because I know the current version does not have noise cancellation.
No, they don't.
Well, they got the rechargeable case that you can set on the mat, on the Qi.
That's going to be coming out when the Qi chart, when the Apple powered thing comes out. Yeah.
But one last thing that I did want to discuss here was we got a iTunes update already, and this is, a lot of people are going to love it because they said iTunes was too cramped in. But for me, the big deal about, I've yet to do this update, and the big thing for me is they've taken all the apps out of iTunes, and the reason that's a big deal for me is because I occasionally have to roll back an app, and you no longer can do that in iTunes. But Allison, you were telling me you used something that you weren't sure about if it was 100% accessible, but you've been pretty happy with it.
Well, I have not tried it yet, but I have heard that it is accessible and constantly becoming more so because somebody's working with the developers. It is called iMazing. It is a pay product. I don't know exactly how much it costs. I want to say somewhere in the $30 range. There is a trial. They sponsor it a lot on a lot of the mainstream Apple podcasts that I listen to. They are a sponsor usually. And you can do a lot of things with it. You can do incremental backups. You can do full backups. I believe you can still do encrypted backups, which is important for me. You can go in and roll back individual apps. You can copy in and out voicemails and photos. And you can really get down deep into the guts of the phone if you want to.
And this is an app for the computer, but it backs up the iPhone.
It is an app for the Mac. Yeah, but it backs up to the Mac via either the USB or with a little utility that's bundled with the full version called iMazing Mini. You can also do it over Wi-Fi as well.
I'm looking forward to getting that app and rolling my iPhone back to 1975 to see what it was like back then.
Is that when you went to sleep?
yeah, it was the last time I dialed my phone. It was back when you had to, turn that big rotary dial.
Rotary.
Yeah, and it made that sound. If people's grandparents are still alive, they probably still have one of those phones in their house and everything.
We had one in my house until about 19. I first learned how to dial, and I sucked at it, but I first learned how to dial on a rotary phone when I was little.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember when you would dial on that and you'd get like one number wrong? You're like, damn it, now it's starting.
Oh, yeah. I think I was little enough that if that would happen, I just cried.
Back then, speed dialing is when you dialed the number and forced it back really fast.
Yep.
Well, I forget where I posted. I posted somewhere today, like, hey, does anybody know if 411 still works?
I was testing something out, and I dialed the 1-800-555-1212, and it worked. I can't even remember why I was trying it out, but it definitely still works.
That still works?
Yeah, and then I don't know if the 1-800-555-TEL still works, but my God, I mean, you can get the information so much faster on your iPhone. It's like, what's the point?
I'm not sure if I mentioned it on the podcast or not, but my mom, bless her heart, she's a great person. She's actually okay with technology. But she wanted to throw away my baseball cards, which I can't see anymore. But I said, well, what else is in the room, that you could potentially... And she's naming everything to me that's in the room. And sure enough, my childhood encyclopedia that was printed in 1982 were in the room. She's like, I don't want to get rid of those. I said, Mom, because Google's so slow... I said, do me a favor, take out the I for the encyclopedia and look up internet. She did. It didn't exist.
Oh, my God.
Oh, really?
Those are useful. Smoking was still good for you in this encyclopedia.
Oh, my God.
And back then, only 1 out of 5 dentists suggested Crest.
Jeff, you're a funny guy.
He is.
Oh, God. We're going to have to end on that note. Well, guys, this has been a ton of fun. I hope to the listeners out there you got some useful information. Probably a lot of you have already, you knew what we were talking about, but hopefully we gave you some opinions and some more useful information and everything. And, I guess the next time we're all together, we'll all be iOS 11 users, I guess. We can't say iPhone, blah, 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 because God knows who's getting what when. So.
What, yeah. There are many choices.
Any last words, Allison?
I'm all out of words, but I've had a great time, and thank you again for having me.
Why don't you tell the listeners where they can find you?
I can be found primarily and prolifically on Twitter. I am at Hot4Technology. That's hot, the number 4, technology.
And Jeff, where can the listeners find you?
They can find me on Twitter at known as Jeff. That's KNOWASJEFF.
And also at Blind Abilities, because we are part of the Blind Abilities podcast network here at That Blind Tech Show. Remember, you can follow us on the Twitter at Blind Tech Show. And if you want to email us in telling us you missed something, you made a mistake, you're awful, we love you, I hope you fall off the planet. If the planet's flat, you can email us in at thatblindtechshow blindabilities@gmail.com, and happy downloading and buying.
A big thanks to Drew Weber for his song, and you can contact him on Twitter at RadioDrew1 and on the web at WeberAir.com.
Come on, y'all. Get with the Professional Life program. No one's ever using the right mic. Gosh dang it, this app is an A11Y. I have never heard worse sound ever in my life. With JAWS for Windows, I can't navigate this website. Oh, I don't understand why I can't update my phone. What will I do if Apple removes the home button? We're a blindy glutton for punishment. And why we keep on saying it? Oh, shh. Of all this blindy drama, here's a word for you, and it's not from your mama. Y'all better take care of it, Well, this drama makes me go insane. You're sitting there with your finger up your nose and in your brain. What else can I really say? Y'all better take care of it, Come on, y'all. Get with the Professional Life program.
When we share
what we see through each other's eyes,
we can then begin to bridge the gap between
the limited expectations and the realities of blind abilities.
The realities of blind abilities.
For more podcasts with a blindness perspective, check us out on the web at www.blindabilities.com, on Twitter at blindabilities, download our app from the App Store, blindabilities, that's 2 words, or send us an email at info@blindabilities.com. Thanks for listening.